Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6, where we get you the day's top developing stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi and let's head straight to the headlines. Facing a debt of nearly 7,000 crores, Vijay, Mallya and Kingfisher Airlines offer to pay 4,000 crores by September. Supreme Court gives banks a week's time to consider the proposal. Uttarakhand High Court orders the stay on the floor test in Assembly tomorrow. Two-judge division bench posts the matter for hearing on April 6th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays tributes to victims of the Brussels terror attacks, says that India stands shoulder to shoulder with Belgians in the wake of the horrific incident. Election fever peaks across poll-bound states. Sonia Gandhi and Rajya address rallies in Assam. And the ICC World 2020 tournament enters the knockout stage. First semi-final match to be played between New Zealand and England today. Top story, liquor baron Vijay Mallya and Kingfisher Airlines Limited proposed to repay 4,000 crore rupees to the consortium of banks led by State Bank of India by this September. The proposal was also submitted by the United Breweries Holdings Limited and Kingfisher Finvest India Limited.
A Supreme Court bench has allowed the consortium of banks 1 week to respond to liquor baron Vijay Mallya's proposal. Mallya owes 6,903 crore rupees to the banks, against which he proposes to pay back 4,000 crore rupees. The court will hear the matter further on the 7th of April. Mallya's counsel has sought that the proposal be kept in a sealed cover as media hype could vitiate the atmosphere.
Vijay Mallya will have to pay each and every paise, otherwise he will also have to go behind the bar. There was a lot of doubt has been raised about the government commitment. Now my Prime Minister also has made it very clear that Mallya will have to pay all his dues.
On the 9th of March, the government told the Apex Court that Vijay Mallya had left the country while allegedly defaulting on loans of over 9,000 crore rupees from various banks. The government also called for an order to attach money or property and disclosure on behalf of Mallya, claiming that Mallya had assets abroad far in excess to loans secured by him in India. Mallya's proposal has, however, failed to enthuse the erstwhile employees of Kingfisher.
PM is talking about bringing a defaulter to justice, the FM is talking the same thing, but I have not seen any of the representative of the government or this present government who talks about Achhe Din, who talks about people are coming forward to help any of our employees, and so far the employees are just left all by themselves.
According to the government, Mallya was granted loans keeping in mind that Kingfisher Airlines had a fleet of aircraft as well as brand value. Loans were also given as the aircraft were attached to third parties.
The way 5 to 6 lakh crores of rupees of the nationalized banks, how it got NPA, became NPA, because it is public money. And we want from Trinamool Congress that a probe should be made by a judicial commission to unearth the person responsible for making such accounts NPA.
कटौती को उन्होंने भगाने में मदद की थी। कांग्रेस पार्टी और उसकी सरकार उनको जो है वो देश का जो पैसा लूट के गए थे उस लूट को 100% छूट दी गई थी। उसी चीज़ को वो याद कर रही हैं। इसलिए हमें लगता है कि उनको इसकी चिंता नहीं करनी चाहिए। हम उसके आने पाई का हिसाब किताब लेंगे।
पहले तो उसको भारत वापस आना चाहिए, भारत के कानून का सामना करना चाहिए। एक अभियुक्त कहीं पर भी बैठा कोई भी बयान दे दे तो उसका क्या मान्यता है?
Last week, the government also directed public sector banks to immediately invoke personal guarantees of promoter directors and recover loans from them in case the companies fail to repay. The order was seen as an attempt to effectively deal with loan default cases like the one Vijay Mallya is involved in. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you the latest on Uttarakhand, and there will be no floor test in the Assembly on Thursday. A division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court overturned the single bench ruling after it was challenged by the centre. Giving its ruling, the division bench also kept the single bench order in abeyance till the 7th of April. For now, President's rule has been upheld. In its petition, the centre had contended that if a trust vote takes place, There will be two governments in Uttarakhand, one that has had the sitting MLAs and one that is under central rule. The centre had sought clarification on whether the floor test can be held when an assembly is in a state of suspended animation.
जो सिंगल जज का ऑर्डर है वो 7 तारीख तक होल्ड पे हो गया है। जहां तक भारत सरकार की बात है, भारत सरकार अपना काउंटर इस पिटीशन पर सोमवार तक देगा। दूसरी साइड पिटीशनर का जवाब मंगल तक आएगा। बुधवार को इसकी सुनवाई होगी।
निलंबित विधानसभा में नेता सदन होगा नहीं, और विश्वास प्रस्ताव या अविश्वास प्रस्ताव पे सदन विभिन्न दलों के जो सदन के नेता सदन और नेता विपक्ष, अब जब सदन ही निलंबित है तो कौन नेता सदन कौन नेता विपक्ष। तो इस परिस्थिति को माननीय न्यायालय ने समझा, और मैं समझता हूं अब जो हेयरिंग होगी, हेयरिंग में सारी बातें स्पष्ट हो जाएंगी।
जो सिंगल बेंच का जजमेंट था, न्यायालय डबल बेंच ने उसको ठीक समझते हुए इस मामले में सारी अनिश्चितताओं का समाधान करने का फैसला लिया। तो ये हमारे लिए एक प्रकार की डबल विक्ट्री है।
We'll keep an eye out for developments on that front. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi began his three-nation tour today with Belgium's capital, Brussels. The Prime Minister is there for the 13th India-EU summit, where the two sides will discuss ways to finalize the free trade agreement. On Wednesday, the Prime Minister first paid tribute to the victims of last week's terror attacks in Belgium. He also met his counterpart, Charles Michel.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today paid tribute to the victims of the Belgium terror attacks at the Mallya metro station. PM Modi laid a wreath at the metro station where an Indian software engineer was among the 13 killed. Before leaving for Belgium, the Prime Minister had saluted the resilience and spirit of the people of Belgium. He also said India stood shoulder to shoulder with Belgians in the wake of the horrific attacks. In Brussels for the India-EU summit, the Prime Minister also held talks with his Belgian counterpart Charles Michel and with members of the European Parliament. The Prime Minister is also scheduled to address the Indian community later. At the 13th India-EU summit, the two sides will deliberate on ways to finalize a free trade agreement. Terming European Union India's second largest trading partner, the Prime Minister hoped the summit would advance multifaceted engagement across a whole range of sectors. On his 5-day three-nation trip, the Prime Minister will also attend the Nuclear Security Summit in Washington, D.C. on March 31st and April 1st. Thereafter, he will leave for Saudi Arabia. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the central government today rejected a purported video confession of a former naval officer who was arrested on charges of espionage by Pakistan. It also charged Pakistani authorities with cooking up and planting stories to malign India. Pakistani government officials yesterday released a 6-minute-long statement by an arrested man, Kulbhushan Yadav. The video reportedly has Yadav claiming that he works for RAW and that he is due to retire from the Indian Navy in 2022. The Minister of State for Home Affairs, Kiren Rijiju, said that Islamabad is cooking up stories and creating doctored videos to defame India.
The Ministry of External Affairs has already come out with a statement about the forged and the doctored video and the made-up story being created by the Pakistani establishment. We don't have to react after that. The problem within Pakistan is one thing, and then they're cooking up stories and planting and creating doctored videos and all to defame India. Will not have any kind of takers here and in international community also.
Now, let's take you through what else made news across the country today in Nationwide. 7 CRPF Jawans were killed in an attack by Maoists in Dantewada district of Chhattisgarh. The Maoists attacked the CRPF convoy while passing through Malewada in Dantewada, which is considered the stronghold of the militants. A Delhi court today acquitted Manipuri rights activist Irom Sharmila in a 2006 case of attempt to suicide during a fast at Jantar Mantar. Sharmila has been on a hunger strike for 16 years, demanding the repeal of the controversial Armed Forces Special Powers Act. In 2013, she was taken to trial after she refused to plead guilty. The Supreme Court today approved the central government's guidelines to protect Good Samaritans who help road accident victims from harassment. As per the guidelines, Good Samaritans need not fear harassment by police or any other authorities anymore. The court has also directed the centre to publish the guidelines in the media. The Bombay High Court today observed that no law prevented women from entering a place of worship. It said that if men were allowed, then women too should be permitted in places of worship. The court also warned that temples or people imposing restrictions could face a 6-month jail term under the Maharashtra law. And now let's get you all the assembly election-related news in our special segment, Verdict 2016. Confident of forming a government in Assam, the BJP is hoping for an unprecedented performance now in West Bengal. As the campaign for the assembly elections in 5 states reaches feverish pitch, the BJP's internal assessment paints a rosy picture. According to an internal survey, the BJP in West Bengal has emerged as a force to reckon with. Reports suggest that sources in the BJP believe that the party could win anything between 40 to 50 seats in the state, where it has never had any significant presence. Prime Minister Modi, who has already launched a blistering attack on the Trinamool Congress government, would be addressing 8 to 10 more rallies in West Bengal. BJP President Amit Shah is leading the second line of attack. He's also set to address 25 to 30 rallies in the state, while Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh will appear in at least a dozen public meetings. The BJP will field its might, with Union Minister Smriti Irani, Sushma Swaraj and Arun Jaitley going all out to make a dent in the Trinamool Congress vote bank. Meanwhile, talking of the Congress, President Sonia Gandhi addressed an election rally in Assam Shivsagar district today, accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi of going back on promises of development. She said the composite culture of the state would be in danger if the BJP-led alliance came to power in the state.
कांग्रेस असमिया समाज के हर तबके का नेतृत्व करती है। उनको पता है कि पिछले 15 साल में तरुण गोगोई जी के नेतृत्व में असम एक शांतिपूर्ण, एक प्रगतिशील राज्य के रूप में उभर कर सामने आया है।
Meanwhile, Home Minister Rajnath Singh addressed a rally in Polban, Assam as well, in Moran constituency, where he claimed that the insurgency situation had improved considerably in the last 18 months since the BJP came to power in the centre. Singh also targeted Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi for failing to stop illegal infiltration from Bangladesh.
यहाँ असम में तो लगातार 15 वर्षों तक कांग्रेस की ही सरकार, गोगोई साहब ये बतलाए हैं, उनको असम का विकास करने के लिए कितना और समय चाहिए।
With a quick break here, still ahead international news, and Myanmar's transition to democracy in almost 50 years completed now, with the swearing in of the new president. Details of that in a bit.
Uttarakhand High Court upturns President's rule decision. Chief Minister allowed a floor test, a chance to prove his majority. What does the order mean, and what are the wider implications? Watch the big picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Renowned economist Amartya Sen needs no introduction. Recipient of the Nobel Prize for Economics in 1998, Sen has always shown a keen interest in the problems of the underprivileged. He has made immense contributions to the discipline of welfare economics and social choice theory, and his books have been translated into more than 30 languages. In 2010, Amartya Sen was listed among the world's 50 most influential people who matter.
Welcome back. Now, Myanmar's parliament today swore in its first president with no military ties in more than half a century. Tin Shaw, a close aide to Aung San Suu Kyi, took the oath in a ceremony in the country's capital, Naypyidaw. Addressing the new parliament, Tin Shaw said that he would be faithful to the people of Myanmar.
After 56 years of military rule, Myanmar has its first civilian president. Tin Shaw is a trusted aide of Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. He takes over from Thein Sein after his party, the National League for Democracy, won a landslide victory in November. 69-year-old Tin Shaw has promised to bring peace and democracy to the country. Suu Kyi, the leader of the NLD party, is barred from becoming president by the army's scripted constitution but will be a part of the cabinet as foreign minister. Tin Shaw runs a charity founded by Suu Kyi and has been a trusted member of her inner circle since the mid-1990s. Myanmar Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing and previous government members also attended the ceremony. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Over 5,000 people have been rounded up in 2 days since the Lahore Park bombing. More than 200 are still in custody. A joint investigation team has also been formed to probe the blast. About 56 intelligence-based operations were carried out by the Punjab police, whereas 16 raids were conducted by the Counter-Terrorism Department. A large number of people were present at the crowded Gulshan-e-Iqbal Park of Allama Iqbal town when a powerful blast took place on Sunday. The brutal attack by a suicide bomber believed to be in his 20s was claimed by the Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, which is a splinter group of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. At least 73 people were killed and 300 others were injured in the bombing.
इन ऑपरेशंस में 5,221 लोगों को इब्तदाई तौर पे जो है वो राउंड अप किया गया है। 5,005 लोगों को उनके क्वाइफ की वेरिफिकेशन के बाद जो है वो रिहा किया गया है और 216 लोग जो हैं उनको फॉर फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है वो उनको जो है वो हिरासत में लिया गया है।
Now let's get you some more international news updates in Global Buzz. The suspected hijacker of an Egypt Air flight was produced in a court in Cyprus today before being remanded in custody. The suspect, Saif Eldin Mustafa, an Egyptian, is charged with hijacking the aircraft with a fake suicide belt and diverting it to the East Mediterranean island. The domestic Alexandria-Cairo flight was diverted to Larnaca in Cyprus on Tuesday with 72 passengers and crew members on board. Former Canadian Cabinet Minister Jean Lapierre died in a plane crash that also killed his wife and 3 siblings while they were on the way to their father's funeral in eastern Quebec. The crash took place due to bad weather when the plane was coming to land on the Magdalen Islands in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Provincial police confirmed all passengers and crew members on board were killed. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon today called on all countries to show solidarity and accept nearly 500,000 Syrian refugees for resettlement by 2018. Ban, along with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, opened a ministerial-level conference in Geneva asking countries to pledge places for Syrian refugees to resettle in their countries legally. Meanwhile, in an update in that Lahore attack 2 days after it, the Christian community in Pakistan has urged the government to do more, in fact, to protect them as a sense of vulnerability is growing among members of the community. Irshad Ashnaz, who's the Christchurch vicar, said that Christians, who number around 2 million in a nation of 190 million people, have been the target of a series of attacks in recent years. And now let's get you some sports news. And in fact, in cricket, England and New Zealand will play out the first semi-finals of the ICC World T20 tournament at Firozshah Kotla in New Delhi today. Ahead of the match, both teams are shedding sweat and working hard on the nets with an eye to qualify for the finals. Here's a report.
It's the first semi-finals of the ICC World T20 tournament today. England and New Zealand will take on each other at Delhi's Firozshah Kotla Stadium. The Kiwis will look to continue their winning streak with no losses so far in the tournament, despite being in a tough group comprising Australia, England, Pakistan and Bangladesh. A confident Kiwis will rely on spinners like Michelle Santner and Ish Sodhi in this match. The duo have wreaked havoc on the opposition so far in the series. The only aspect that could bother New Zealand is their not-so-impressive batting. They have crossed the 150-run mark on only one occasion in the tournament so far.
We need to look at the conditions before we decide on our final side, but naturally you consider the track you're playing on, the ground size and also the opposition, and at this stage we're still yet to decide on an 11.
For a young England team, on the other hand, the tournament has gone off well so far, now that they have been able to survive till the business end of the mega event. The advantage for them is familiarity with the conditions, having already played 2 matches at Kotla. England team will largely depend on Joe Root, Alex Hales, Josh Butler and skipper Morgan for a batting advantage.
Comes out. Very good batting. Yeah, expecting it. Sitting.
Can't quite believe where we are overall with our one-day cricket and our T20 cricket. I think the guys that we've selected have done outstandingly well. They've showed a great amount of attitude in learning.
Today's match promises to be quite an exciting one, with Kiwi bowlers up against the English batsmen. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A smile on his face because...
Meanwhile, in a huge setback to India ahead of their semi-final clash against the West Indies, all-rounder Yuvraj Singh has been ruled out of the ongoing World T20 tournament due to an ankle injury. Yuvraj had twisted his ankle in the previous match against Australia in Mohali. He has been replaced now by Manish Pandey, who was called in as cover on Monday. The ICC has approved and confirmed Pandey as Yuvraj's replacement for the remaining matches of the tournament now. Manish Pandey last played for India in the 5th and final ODI at Sydney in the bilateral series in Australia and signed off with a maiden century. And now let's get you some more sporting action in SportsBeat. Defending champion Saina Nehwal advanced to the second round of the India Open Super Series badminton tournament. She defeated round 1 qualifier Tanvi Ladd 21-7, 21-13 in a match that lasted just 34 minutes. Saina will next face Thailand's Nichao Jindapol in the next round. India's top seed boxers Mary Kom and Shiva Thapa advanced to the semi-finals of the Asia Oceania qualifying tournament. The players now stand just a win away from clinching an Olympic berth. With the win, the boxers are assured of at least bronze medals, but will have to make the final to be assured of a ticket to the Rio Games. Pakistan cricket team head coach Waqar Younis offered to resign after his team was knocked out of the World T20 in the Super 10 stage. Former pace bowler Waqar is in his second spell as Pakistan's coach, having first held the job between March 2010 and August 2011. The former T20 champions Pakistan have been widely criticised by fans following a lacklustre performance with just one victory against low-ranked Bangladesh and big losses to India, New Zealand and Australia. Japan's Kei Nishikori advanced to the quarterfinals of the Miami Open. Nishikori defeated Spain's Roberto Bautista 6-2, 6-4 in a late-night match. He will next face 16-seeded Guillermo Fils in the quarterfinals on Thursday. The Frenchman beat Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria to reach the quarterfinals. And that wraps up the news at 6. Thanks so much for joining us.